With the municipal elections just around the corner, we need to look past the usual slogans and really dig into the data. Today, we're going through the chilling evidence from a sworn statement by Lt General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. It paints a really stark picture of what's been happening, and it all starts with one single number. Okay, let's start right here, 333. Between 2018 and 2024, that's the official count of politically related cases that a special unit, the Political Killings Task Team, or PKTT, had to handle. And look, this isn't some guess or an estimate. This is the actual caseload for a team that was created specifically to deal with this crisis. So let's break that number down a bit. You can see right here in the chart that more than half of those cases, 171 of them, were for murder. When you then add in the attempted murders and the intimidation cases, you start to see a very clear picture forming. This isn't just random crime, it's a targeted campaign of political violence.
So, who exactly is being targeted? Well, 59. That's how many local government councillors have been assassinated. Think about that for a second. These are the very officials you elected to represent your community and manage your services. This isn't some abstract political issue, it's a direct assault on the foundations of our local democracy.
And it's not just councillors either. The list goes on to include 58 political party members, 31 office bearers, and 25 municipal officials. You see the pattern, right? Pretty much anyone involved in the structure of local government is at risk.
Okay, so with such a huge problem, you'd want to know how the state was responding, right? And that's where we get to the story of the Political Killings Task Team, which is a real puzzle. Because on the one hand, you have this incredible success, but on the other, you have what looks like deliberate sabotage. And let me tell you, the PKTT was getting results. I mean, the numbers really do speak for themselves. 401 arrests, 130 convictions, 34 of those were life sentences, and 55 firearms recovered. This team was, without a doubt, effective. Which leads to a really big question. Why on earth would anyone want to shut it down? This timeline, taken directly from the general statement, is just explosive. On the very same day the minister signs the letter to shut down the successful unit, his private associate is messaging an alleged criminal cartel leader telling him it's D-Day and to stand back. The timing is, well, it's just unbelievable. And let's just zoom in on this message for a second. The task team that came to your house and harassed you has been dissolved/disbanded. This isn't some vague, coded message. It's a crystal clear confirmation, coming from an associate of the minister to an alleged criminal leader, that the very law enforcement unit investigating him has just been taken out of the picture. To really get a grip on how this high-level meddling actually impacts justice on the ground, we need to look at a very specific case study that's laid out in the statement: the strange journey of 121 case dockets.
121. That's the number of active, ongoing investigations that were literally pulled away from the expert Political Killings Task Team. And these weren't cold cases just sitting on a shelf gathering dust. Now, these were live investigations into some of the most serious crimes in the country.
So what happened to them? Well, this slide basically traces their journey into a complete black hole. They were taken from the expert team, sent up to head office, and then nothing. A later analysis showed that zero progress had been made. Even worse, there were direct instructions to arrest 5 named suspects in those files, and those instructions were flat out ignored.
And when you put it side by side like this, well, it's impossible to ignore. On the one hand, with the PKT, you see progress, you see arrests, you see cases heading to court. On the other hand, with those 121 dockets moved to head office, you see a complete and total stall. It's not just a drop in efficiency, it's a black hole where justice seems to disappear.
Now here's the really scary part. According to the general statement, this wasn't just a one-off thing. This is a symptom of a much, much deeper problem, a systemic issue he actually calls the rot, and he says it's threatening the entire justice system. Just listen to the general's own words from his sworn statement. The system is at real risk of total collapse. Now, this isn't a journalist or a politician saying this. This is one of the country's top cops sounding the most serious alarm you could possibly imagine. So how does this rot actually work? Well, the statement gives us some pretty concrete examples. You've got detectives being offered bribes or even facing death threats. You've got suspects who have connections to influential figures high up in the police service. You've even got the courts being used to sideline key investigators with what are described as startling bail conditions. The evidence points to a system being corrupted from the inside out.
Okay,
So, we've looked at the hard data on political violence, the clear evidence of sabotage, and the dire warning of a systemic rot. So now what? Where does this all lead? Well, it leads to the final and most crucial point, the choice that you have to make.
With municipal elections coming up, this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? After seeing all this data, all this evidence, who is the final analyst? Who gets to decide what happens next? The answer, of course, is you, the voter. So as you prepare to vote, think of this as the case file that's been put in front of you. Here's the evidence, the data. 59 of your local councillors have been murdered. The evidence, a highly successful task force was suddenly shut down. The rot, direct links between the political world and the criminal underworld. And the sabotage, 121 murder investigations stopped dead in their tracks.
We're going to end with this powerful oath from the general himself. I will die for the badge to protect this nation. His commitment is pretty clear. The evidence we've just gone through leaves us all with a question about our own duty. What are you going to do with this information when you're standing in that voting booth? The data is now in your hands.